Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on CrossFit Garage Podcast, where we are helping you build a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finances. Today we're actually going to go over food. I'm here with Alan and Stardust, aka Stu, and we're going to have a good time. So we're going to jump right in. You guys started into CrossFit. Why? Alan, you go first.
I've always wanted to do CrossFit, and I love the strength part, but it's also combined with a heavy dose of cardio and cardiovascular.
But why?
Stuff.
What are you doing it? Who cares? You could just go run. You could just go lift a tractor.
That was it. I just really enjoy working out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And is it so? Are you looking to like go to the CrossFit Games or be a healthy dad or what?
Yeah. Just maintain a baseline of fitness.
Yeah.
For normal life activities.
We like to say harder to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Stardust.
Star Child.
Star Child.
Star Child. No, it's
Stu. So what do you? So you started CrossFit. Why are we doing this? Why are we into CrossFit?
So I started actually back when your gym started. Not here though, but back in Atlanta for Georgia Tech rugby.
Oh yeah.
With Dan McDougal.
I knew that.
Yeah. So back when your gym,
That was
actually the reason I started to come to your gym was because of your pedigree, the fact that you
You went to Georgia Tech.
I played rugby for Tech.
Okay.
I was trying to transfer to Tech.
Okay.
And
Look at his shirt. So you don't
I know.
see this now. He's wearing a shirt. So Alan went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I went to Georgia Tech. You went to Georgia Tech.
No.
This is the gym of nerds. Nerds.
See, that's why I got to clarify. I played rugby for Tech. I was in the process of trying to transfer to Tech.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my scores were not going to make it.
Yeah.
So
these days I got 2 kids in college now, and one's doing the applications.
Yeah.
And it is insane.
Oh, yeah.
The kids have I thought a 4.0 was the highest GPA, and they're like, oh no, Dad, I got a 4.97. I'm like, how do you even? What is that?
No.
And so it is insane. I couldn't get into. I probably couldn't even get into like a local college.
No, I took the
scores.
I took the consolation prize of studying for a year in Britain. So,
nice.
Yeah, I took that consolation prize, and that was okay. I'll live.
So you did CrossFit down there, and why are you doing CrossFit now? Are you going to the games? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I tease and say I'll be going to the games at 55.
Okay, true.
But in all seriousness, longevity, and the reason why I do CrossFit as opposed to other things is mainly because I'm addicted. No, there's a certain feeling you get, the endorphin rush that other types of fitness do not offer. And again, the reason I choose CrossFit over other gyms is the pedigree. I.e., it's been in the business the longest.
Oh, you mean the garage? Yeah.
No, not just the garage, but I mean CrossFit in general,
yeah.
is that it was created the first of the functional fitness.
Oh, true, yeah.
Therefore, it has the longest pedigree. Therefore, it has the longest variability. When you watch things, who does the games? Who actually does the?
It's Castro and
Castro. He keeps
Adrian
coming,
Bosman,
and Castro's come back. Bosman's come back. These guys, the guys that do the programming, they're still in it to win it.
Right.
So the pedigree, the amount of expertise that's still in CrossFit is the reason I stay.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story in the podcast, but we did the garage games. So in 2007, we saw the CrossFit Games over in California, and one of my old partners, Eric, said, "Hey, we should do something similar to that over here on this coast." We're like, "Let's do it." So we started doing the garage games and got a phone call from Castro, and I'm going to sensationalize it. He didn't say this, but it's in my memory. This is how it lives on. It's grown. It's like, guys, hey, this is Dave Castro. I'm going to come through this phone and kill you guys because you are doing another games, and this is what we do. You don't do that. And so Eric turns the phone to the rest of us, and this is before we had it was a flip phone. She's like, guys, I got Castro on the phone. And we're all like, yeah. And he's like, no, I said I'm going to sue you and kill you. And we're like, yeah, Castro. So they're trying to shut us down. And that was back in the day when they were trying to hold on to all this IP really closely. Now they don't care. But yeah, so we have a phone call from Castro because we tried to do a similar event. He was not happy with us. And I do believe, he was a Navy SEAL, so he probably knows more ways to kill me than I know to die.
Did you guys stop?
No.
Just kept going?
We kept going. So the big thing was don't use the word CrossFit. And we're like, okay, it's the garage games. We can do that. Yeah. And so it was weird, though, because we would help a lot of businesses put on events. Yeah. And so almost every CrossFit gym is like CrossFit Woodstock, CrossFit Garage, CrossFit Andy McCann, or whatever. It always says CrossFit first, or, jump in CrossFit. And so they're like, you can't use your own business name in the name of the event because it has the word CrossFit in it. And you're like, that's weird. But, we didn't want to make them mad at him really come through the phone and get us.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, so it's been around a while. So it's actually, I think it was like 2001 when Glassman started actually training people in Santa Cruz doing CrossFit stuff, right? And it was all one-on-one. It was like, me and Alan, and then me and you. And I would say, hey, Stu, Alan works out similar to you. I think it'd be worthwhile to have you guys push each other. So it used to be all one-on-one. Then it became small group, and then it became class. So weirdly, it wasn't class first. It was one-on-one.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that was...
When I started in like 2006, it was classes by then.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know when you started. You started
2007, but I was on my own in my basement swinging a fertilizer bag as a kettlebell.
Okay.
So we didn't have any gear. We were just...
Okay, so I remember, so when like, because I remember, like, McDougal had, anyways,
Yeah.
we're way off topic.
this is good. This is Tangent podcast as well. So the other name of it is Let's Tangent, baby. Let's go off track. Okay, so you guys have chosen CrossFit, and then you guys did the miraculous thing of saying, hey, I think I should edit my nutrition. I should do something. And so in the CrossFit pyramid, one thing I love about it is the top of the pyramid is play new sports. The bottom of the pyramid is work on nutrition. So CrossFit even says the beginning and the end isn't CrossFit. The middle stuff is, but you should work on your nutrition and you should try to play new sports. So you guys finally said, hey, nutrition is something I should focus on. So Alan, you first. Why did you decide, hey, I think I need to check out my nutrition and do something?
Honestly, I've always been able to do one or the other. I've always been able to diet well, but I haven't, not in the context of working out. Or I was able to work out, but I wasn't able to keep my nutrition in line. Like the more you lift, the more you want to eat, and
that is true.
And so I would lose that balance. I would lift a lot and eat a lot, or I would lift little and eat little. And anyway, so this was decided. Now let's focus on nutrition because I had been doing CrossFit for a year, and kind of gotten that down and was enjoying it. And I said, okay, let's see if I can slowly work in a focus on nutrition.
Okay, so you decided it's time to dial in. Stu, how about you? Why did you decide, hey, and I know for both of you, this isn't the first time you work with Coach Laura.
No.
But so why did you decide, hey, okay, I should probably tackle some nutrition?
So I mean, when I came into CrossFit, I was actually thinner than I am now. And that sounds great, except I was not fit.
Yeah.
You can be thin. And I was thin, and I looked great, but I was unhealthy. And you can look great, and but I couldn't lift. I mean, I remember my warm up, my ramp up here. I mean, it was back to it for the oldies. Remember, it was back to Pubkey.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
And it was just that bad. And I'm talking about the ramp up workouts, which are jokes.
Which
now,
is easy. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Which are jokes.
Yeah. So we actually have so this is gonna be, let me segue there or tangent. So when you come in, we'll do usually it's 5 one-on-one sessions with you. And we do these 5 30-minute sessions in about, like 10 minutes of a workout. And we have tailored those back. So one, we can see what you do and move you. But two, we never want to put somebody into I want to go hard and crush it and then feel bad on the floor. So we want to teach you something, but we also want to see where you're at without pushing the envelope too much to make people feel bad. So it's been a process of dialing in that because you get someone on the bike and they can go really hard sometimes, and so you got to really watch out for that. But yeah, so keep going. So you did the one-on-ones, and you were
I did the one-on-ones, and I remember I was back to that level already. And I'm going, how is this killing me? I'm in shape. I thought I was in shape.
Right.
I wasn't. So I came and I was very hardcore and diligent here, and I was here almost every day I could possibly make it.
Yeah, you have the most consistent, highest attendance of anybody I've seen. I love it.
And that's important to me, but the problem is to maintain that you have to start eating.
Yes.
And so, of course, that would put the weight on. Now, my strength skyrocketed. And in general, my fitness skyrocketed. So you can't sit there, but the problem is the weight comes on too.
Right.
And so I initially, to address it, I went to Laura, and it helped. I mean, it did. You definitely see some major cut fat, maintain muscle. But, the first time, that's why I went to her. And then, I fell back into my bad habits because it's just easy to eat garbage and keep working out.
Yeah.
It's just easy to keep eating garbage and working out. And
now, you mentioned something right there, habits, which I do want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So let me steer this another direction. I know from a conversation that Alan and I had, so we do the goal reviews. I put it on a Google Doc, and you guys can go through it. And one of yours was, I don't want to weigh and measure my food. I just want like 20 habits that I can just add later into my life. I'm like, what an engineer. I love it.
Yeah.
He's like, give me the things that I can habit stack. So you just mentioned habits as well.
Right.
So have you guys either, have you done the weigh and measure where you have like literally have a scale and you measure out your food to make sure, have you ever done that method before?
Yes.
Yeah, I have not. Is it easy?
It gets easier.
Right? Have you ever put it into, like, tracked it and just watched the macro counts?
I've done the macro counts. I've done macro counts. I've done weigh and measure. And for me, honestly, when I went to Laura this time, I said, "Look, I know what I need to do. I know what works best for me."
Yeah.
And this was the thing that I really liked about this session was I went to her and said, "Look, I know what works for me. And what works for me best is keto.
Yeah.
So if you just put me on a keto diet,
Yeah.
and track me on my keto, because I know that works best for me.
Yeah.
And everybody's different, and that's the way I see it." And she said, "Cool." And so we did, and I've not been off of it. And so, when did the challenge end?
End of October.
20 days ago?
20 days. I haven't. I'm still on keto.
That's it. So that's good. Now, are you still tracking your food, or do you have it in your head? You kind of know what you need to eat.
I haven't. This is as many carbs as I have right here. And this coffee right here, which has got what? 2 carbohydrates.
Yeah. So you and I are on the same track. I have found that keto style diet works for me. So it's been like 10 or 11 years since I've had sugar or grains.
Yeah, I just keep them out now.
And
the thing is, I've noticed that, and I've noticed this too. And just to speak to it, I ran a 5K Saturday night. Now I'm not a runner like you. I'm not
really
naturally
a runner.
Okay. Peyton is very.
I'm a smaller guy, which makes me the runner.
I see all those adventure races and all that other stuff.
It's adventure walk is really what it is.
Adventure cardio.
There you go. It can be, yeah.
And I see your scores in the gym, so opinions vary. But no, seriousness, and then, a friend, so I worked out Saturday here, and then a friend signed me up for a 5K, and I went and ran it. Now, that was, my time's great? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But like 10
But we did it.
But I did it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, too, is be 7th out of minimum age group for a man that doesn't run normally out of 50 dudes.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not bad to walk off the street and be like that from a CrossFit when I don't train.
Well, so similarly, so Evie and I signed up to an adventure race. She is just recently. She said, "I've been asking my kids for years, and the 999th time, she's like, okay, sure, I'll do an adventure race." I'm like, what? So this is our second one. We signed up for the 10-hour race, but only like 4 of us signed up. So they bumped us up to the 24-hour race with everybody else. And I asked her, I was like, hey, that's what happened. We can cut it short, but do you want to do this? She's like, yeah, hold my beer. I'm like, well, that's funny, but don't say that out loud. And so we end up doing this race, and I mean, you know how much we run. We do like a 400 meter here and there, maybe an 800 meter, or maybe a mile, right?
Yeah.
So this race we were 13 hours into the race when we got to our finish line. And the funny part was somebody else, we matched up, we were talking, like sharing notes before the race. They're like, hey, how do you train? I'm like, I just do CrossFit. And they're like, oh, this is going to be bad. I'm like, well, no, I mean, it's 20 years into this. It's totally fine. So it is fascinating that you can do CrossFit and then just go out and do whatever, which is, I think, like what I really love about it is, hey, you want to go up some mountain? Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's harder to kill. You can do your dad stuff.
And I think that goes back to, and the reason again why I like CrossFit Garage, and I'm not, and I know you go, oh man, dude, why are you so fanatic about this? Is again the pedigree, because I don't know if I went to other CrossFits if I would hear the old school, but nutrition's at the bottom, and at the top is play other sports. I mean, I remember that from 15 years ago. Right. I remember that from Dan McDougall. And I remember that was like the early CrossFit back in the day. I don't know if I'd hear that.
No, they usually don't push that too much because
it's old
you wanted to make it your main thing. But okay, so you guys jump into there. So you did keto. So now you're tracking that. You didn't do that. Your main focus, Alan, was.
Actually, I did the diet.
Oh, you did keto?
Yeah.
You did keto? Okay.
No, I didn't do keto. Yeah. I did. She put me on a macro.
So tracking
goals.
macros.
Yeah.
And so did you find any habits that you could live with?
Yes, I didn't change anything I eat. I just changed the proportions so they would fit those macros.
Okay, so explain that. What does that mean? So I'm a guy. So this is fascinating. You guys may not know this, but some, especially men, are like, wait, guacamole isn't my like veggie nutrition group. Like, no, you need to like eat differently. You need to actually change the way you eat a little bit.
Yeah.
And it may not be dramatic, but it could just be portions. So what does that mean? So what did you change?
Well, I mean, it started with just tracking what I was eating, and realized that I was higher. I had more fats. I had a lot more fats coming in, and.
But if you're me and Stu, you're like totally fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Guacamole, just no carbs.
That's right, no carbs.
That's my energy. Right
Yeah,
there.
that is for me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say I eat those during the races. I have little guacamole packs, so I joke, but it's actually true for me. But
Really?
just because I don't eat sugar and carbs,
Yeah.
it works. But so you found, so I mixed the ratio. I just have to change things up a bit.
Yeah. So I just dialed down on the nut butters and pulled up on some of the proteins. And
So what did you add into protein? Did you just add more of the same thing, or did you find new proteins to eat?
more of the same thing. And really, I think what I learned in trying to make find this balance was I eat a lot of what I learned was just to keep the clean foods on hand and prepped. And so right now I don't have them. I got to go home and get my. I realized last night that I'm out of my chicken. But anyway, yeah, I just eat the same things I love, just adjust the proportions, add in some good proteins that we're missing, and
so now you're talking meal prep too. So you're actually...
that was the big deal. That was what I learned this last month is meal prep is not hard. It's really grilling some chicken for me and making some rice and keeping it in Tupperware and then I eat for breakfast it's eggs and that doesn't take any prep. So.
No. I mean, it's in a special little wrap. You just literally crack it open and you
yeah.
Now, Stu, do you do any meal prep?
Honestly, the only meal prep for me is moving the meat from the freezer to the fridge, so it's ready for the next day.
There you go.
Because I mean, because I eat my meat raw.
Yeah.
Well, not raw. I mean rare.
Raw's good too. Hey,
rare.
That meat guy. There was a guy on Instagram or TikTok or something that was like
there is
the Liver King. That's it. Yeah.
Well, he's also taking steroids.
Yeah, he was kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that guy's fake. Sorry, I'm sorry. Don't sue me. No, that dude. That dude came out. He's not natty. If he was natty, I'd be eating liver every day.
Right. So your meal prep is easy like mine. I basically will take it out of the freezer, put it in the refrigerator, and then I'll pre-cook it, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it back in the freezer. Therefore, I have like 4 bags of ground beef ready to go whenever it's time for me to make something.
Okay, I could start thinking about it. So you brown it already, put it in the freezer, and then you just take it from the freezer, put it in the fridge.
So we got okay. So let me back up a little bit here too. So you probably have the same scenario, Alan, where you make your food, and then you have 5 kids running around the house. They're going to eat your food, or do you tell them, don't eat this?
They will get into it.
Yeah. So I have extra laying around. I have found that if I put, especially with my boys who are like, I want to be big, and they're like, I got to lift and eat. If I have ground beef in the refrigerator, they will mix it into things, and it'll be gone sometimes. So what I'll do is I'll take a quart bag, and I'll stick a pound of ground beef into that after it cools down and get some oil out. Actually, I leave the fat on it.
I do too.
My wife takes it all out, and then I'll throw it into the quart bag, and then write a date on it, and then throw it in the freezer. And then when I want to cook it, I can just put it back in the saucepan, put a little bit of water in there so it's already boiling, and then put the frozen meat on top, and eventually just it thaws.
Yeah.
It doesn't unthaw.
Yeah.
Unthaw is what you do when you put it in the freezer.
Now, would it work
Defrost.
if you just took it and put it in the fridge and let it cool down?
It would. So I could do that too. It's just timing. So
well, for me, because I don't have kids running around, so I could just in the morning say, okay, I'm going to have this when I get home.
Yeah, for sure. I could probably do that too. I doubt they'd eat a meat tickle. That'd probably be gross. But so I'll when I cook, I don't meal prep. I should. Now I save the food, so that's sort of meal prep.
Yeah.
But Levi says I don't cook because I only use 5 ingredients, and it's like ground beef, broccoli, and then depending if it was taco night, then it's a taco seasoning in the beef and some vegetables. But there's no real and then you take some garlic and you saute it, and you take some mushrooms and you caramel. I don't do any of that. I just basically put fresh food together, and then they get to season it up. And so I'll take that and put it into a container and then throw that in the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Usually nobody touches that. They're like, we already had that once.
Yeah.
But I'll eat it over and over.
I mean, that's fine. It tastes good.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm hoping that people hear from you guys is, 1, it doesn't have to be hard.
No.
And 2, there's always something to learn, not even just the first time, but sometimes going into work with a coach a second time, is helpful because you already know yourself and they already know you, right? So so you guys have worked with Coach Laura, I think twice, both of you?
No, just
First
once,
time for you
yeah.
and twice for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is something that you walked away with this time around in the last, it was only, a month long? And so our job or our goal there is to give you wisdom, use it as you see fit, or don't, I guess. But it's not to like have you latch on and be like, I must stay with you for the next 15 years. That is not it. We want you to basically be the hero of your own story. What made sense? So what made sense to you? Alan, we'll go for you first. Stu, you go next. Some time to think about it. What made sense and what did you take away with it and what are you doing now?
What I took away from it is the changes really were not huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just dialing a few things in at the beginning of the month and then staying consistent with it. And
that's the consistency is really the biggest thing. Knowledge and then consistency.
Yeah. And I was, I really was not expecting the end of the month to see a lot of results because it just felt so easy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Stu shaking his head too. Yeah.
No, I was telling him the entire time. I was like, "Dude, you're looking great," and he was like, "I'm not," because he didn't see it on the scale. Anyways.
Well, you usually don't see it yourself because
Yeah.
it happens to you
Yeah.
slowly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'll admit, guys lose weight differently than girls.
Yeah.
And so there is a difference there too.
And sometimes it's not on the scale.
No, it's not, right? Because you'll also possibly, like you two were saying, I'm lifting and so I'm gaining muscle as well, especially if I'm eating more protein.
yeah.
So you in the tracking, I have a podcast coming out. I don't know if it'll come up before or after this one. But Levi challenged me to track food while we were down in Disney, so I did it for maybe a month after that as well.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating what you learn, what you thought you knew about your own food.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not true. Or at
Yeah.
least if the apps are correct,
Right.
you're misjudging what you eat.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't think that's true, but it is. It's like anything. If you track and measure, it's going to get attention. It's going to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any other habits that you picked up? You drinking more water?
I am drinking more water, and really just making
Change
sure
the
I have
ratios.
changing the ratios, making sure drinking plenty of water, and just being consistent with it. I was really just floored by how easy it was, and yet it was still getting results.
Yeah.
So you think we're so acclimated that you have to have big changes to see big, fast results, and we can all get those, but they're just not sustainable. So this was very manageable, and
Right. Well, that's the big thing is if you can do it over time,
yeah.
then your investment will compound and it'll pay off.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, if they tell you, I mean, I can help you lose 10 pounds in a week,
Mhm.
but it's not sustainable and you may die.
Mhm. Yeah.
So don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So how about you, Stu? What did you pick up from this time around that it was, that either you didn't know before or reinforced what you already had?
I would say, if you've got a good system and you've got somebody to back it up, and you got a place that supports it, just go with it. Don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not about restrictive diets and things like that. And it just happens that this works for me. There's other people that you can form a community in a place like this. Like you, Andy, you're all about the keto lifestyle, keto-ish, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Carnivore, keto, whatever. Yeah, go with that. I mean, because it's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Vegan's not for everybody.
Right.
Vegetarian's not for everybody. You find a place, you find a community. This is one of those places that you can do that.
Yeah, I have this theory that just like blood types, like when they started doing transfusions, they're like, I don't know, it doesn't work 75% of the time. They were killing people.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there's blood types. That's right. I think they're going to find that there are certain people who are like, oh, you should do keto. Oh, you should do vegan. Oh, you should do. We just don't know that yet because we haven't gotten there. But I think that's going to be
there's
a
some
key.
research behind that already.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's if you look at there's a book called The Blood Type Diet. Now I don't know if that's actually, but I'm just saying.
No, I remember that now.
There's probably some research behind that. Now there's got to be some research behind that. So then I would suppose that there'd be further research since that's years ago.
Right,
That would
somewhere.
probably go to your point. But obviously nobody wants to. Because that would solve a health issue. And then otherwise, without sick people, you can't make
have
money.
Right. That is true. Actually, I just saw something on TV, and what was it? Oh, Evie and I are watching the horror movie Saw.
Right.
And so apparently there's a bunch of Saws, and so we're on Saw 6, and the guy goes, did you know over in Asia, they pay their doctor when they're healthy? You get to go to them for free when you're sick. So you pay for health? I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's pretty fascinating. I wonder if that's true. It was just a a thing in the story, but
I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true. And it sounded really good though.
But that's the way, and that's the way it should be. But that's the problem. I mean,
Okay, so both of you guys said there wasn't anything massive. It was a little bit of a tweak that you think you can do probably forever.
Oh yeah.
And that's huge. Small change to affect the trajectory of your life. Okay, so let me ask you this. So you start into the program. What does it start with? So Coach Laura, in this particular case, it was a 28-day work with me kind of group scenario. So how does it start? Was there a weigh-in, or not weigh-in, but get on the scale? And then
You do your biometrics before you even start.
Yeah.
And that's a little humbling. Yeah.
It can be. Did you know that scale? So most people don't know this. You can't step on the scale when you're sweaty. So it's a it's a BMI scale. So it uses impedance through your body. So it's measuring basically water, and it knows your height and your weight, and then it knows the resistance of you, because water and electricity are consistent.
Yeah.
And so it does a chart to figure out where you are.
Yeah.
And so if you're sweaty, it changes it all. If your elbows are touching your ribs, or your legs are too close together, it shorts the impedance cycle. Right, so there's all these things. You're like, wow, these scales are not as accurate as we thought. They're pretty accurate, but as long as you stand on it the same way you stand on it, which is why there's split pads and whatever.
Yeah.
So they are good, but they're not infallible. So I've had people step on them like before and after working out, and they're like, the numbers are so off. Right, well, right, because you're sweaty. Yeah. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So you start off with that, which is good. And then what happens next, you guys? Is there like does she ever do, is it individual Zoom, or is it in person, or emails, or what are you guys up to?
You get your specific calorie and macro goals.
Okay, so she will talk to you about what you should or shouldn't be eating? Yeah.
And then trainerize. Now, I'll be honest with you, I appreciate you paying for that, because that system's pretty awesome. It saves you money on a whole bunch of different little things. All the different apps go to trainerize. It's a one-stop shop, so I kind of like that.
Yeah, so I didn't realize this, but trainerize will, like, I'm using My Net Diary because Levi said it's free. Go ahead and use it while we were out of town. But trainerize does the exact same thing. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I already paid for it for the gym. I might as well be using that. So in either January or February, I've got like a couple of 2-week challenges, January, February, and March. But one of those months is going to be track your food for 2 weeks, because I think it's just that useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens next? So she tells you, hey, if your goal is to gain weight, lose weight, or whatever, these are the calories you should be at. And then what happens?
You do it. And then, you do it, and then you have little pop-up challenges and then you check in and you say, I did it today, I didn't do it today, I did it today. It's cute. I mean, it's just fun little things, but basically just keep up with everybody. But the fun thing was, like, for me, was the fact that, like, Alan and Josh, a couple of the other people in the challenge, were in the 6 a.m. class and the 5 a.m. class, and I could just say, hey, what's going on? And I could say hi and see him, and and it was kind of cool, because we morning people don't really see a lot of the members, because most of them come in the afternoon.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the 5 a.m. people hardly get to see, because you guys are consistent at 5 a.m. And I don't wake up before that. So
as the Lord our God intended.
Right. I think so. Anytime anybody ever says I have a hard time making it to the gym, I always tell them, come early.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, then I'd have to wake up earlier. I'm like, I know. But if you come and do it seriously, I've been doing this for 16 years. The most consistent people, it's 5 a.m. and then 6 and then 7:30, right? So it's the earlier you start, the more you make it your day, the more consistent you are. It's true.
There's studies behind that show that your brain does not recognize the pain you're about to be in. No, I'm not making this. I'm not being funny. I mean, this applies to every type of workout. I'm not saying CrossFit specifically, but does not recognize the struggle. And this is probably evolutionary in the sense of, like, okay, you got to go hunt, whatever.
Right.
It does not put together that you're about to have to suffer physical whatever, and so you can go and do whatever you need to do early in the morning
without feeling as much
without feeling the stress of, oh God. So you go do it, and then afterwards, then your brain kicks and you go, oh shit.
Right. And you're like, oh no, why am I doing this? Okay, so you guys do the challenge, you wrap it up, you have your habits, your things that you're doing, right? What would you, so let's say there are literally guys just like us out here in Woodstock that either played rugby at Georgia Tech or went to Georgia Tech or whatever, and they are not where they want to be in their health and fitness. I usually tell people, start with your nutrition first, because it's the best place to start, and then like take the mailbox challenge. Just start walking mailboxes.
Yeah.
What would you tell somebody? Would you tell them, hey, start getting sweaty because you guys did do it that way, and then go food, or what would you tell them?
Well, that's a good question, and I guess it depends on who we're talking to. But the easiest thing.
The best answer is always start with it depends. But
it depends.
So pick whoever you want, and what would you tell them?
Well, the easiest thing is we're all busy people, so adding working out to your schedule can be difficult. But subtracting eating is that's anybody can do that.
Yeah.
And
I think that Stu alluded to something. Being in class with people, the community aspect of people in the same struggle of, hey, I'm trying to edit the way I eat, is super helpful to have that accountability. So maybe having a group is better. I don't know. What would you say, Stu? If somebody came up to you and said, hey, I need to get my health in order, what would you lead them towards first? Edit your nutrition or start moving?
Yeah, I mean, like accountability is kind of the best thing ever. And the problem is, like, it's gonna go two ways. Either if they're dead serious about it, they're gonna stay accountable. If they're not, they're gonna shy away, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
And I hate putting people with shame spirals and things like that. But when they're ready, they're gonna be ready.
No. So you were right. So in this time span of doing this, I'm an electrical engineer, so working with people is not my jam. But in 16 years, I've learned to work with people. And the thing that I have found when it comes down to us people is if we don't have a really good why, then we don't do it. So like being harder to kill, I want to be around for my kids, right? That's some pretty good why. Or the doctor said, or my parents just had that, right? So if you've got a good why, you'll stick to it. If you don't, and you're just like, I'm just playing around, nothing ever lasts. So you need to have a really good why or a group of people that can continually push you or remind you of the goal that you had. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so let me back up. So we're going into the nutrition stuff. First time for Alan, second time for Stu. At the beginning, were you like, did it feel daunting or did you feel like, oh no, this is gonna be so much stuff? No, you can't shake your head in a podcast.
No, I did not feel daunting.
So when you got out of it, you guys feel like the stuff that you learned and things you can do, you can continue doing?
Yeah.
And is it going to benefit you?
Yes.
Okay, so you can be anybody. If you're out there and you don't have to be a part of the gym. Actually, it's interesting the way we do it. Since we're not prescribing food, we're not a nutritionist. You don't have to be here in Georgia. You could be anywhere in the world. So a lot of times I tell people, if you're here in Woodstock, come to us. In this case, and I'll tell you if you're out in the world, email me. I'll help you as best I can. But in this case, you literally can hire any nutrition coach as long as they're not prescribing food. So if you're looking for accountability, someone to help give you some insight. I mean, I always tell people, if you want to shortcut the process, hire a coach, right? So as an engineer, I don't have great business skills. So I am part of a business mentoring group. I pay people to tell me the obvious stuff because you know what? It's not obvious to me. So They didn't teach me much about business at Georgia Tech. So anyway, so if you're out here in Woodstock, we're here for you. If you're local and you want to come try out the gym, we've got guys like Stardust.
Star Child.
Sorry. We got Star Child and Alan here. We got a bunch of Georgia Tech people, we got 3 Georgia Tech. There's a few of us, I don't know. And we are here trying to move, get healthy and fit. Great group of people, lots of knowledge, and we definitely will not make you throw up on the floor in your ramp. You guys have any other thoughts?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Guys, I appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can find us here on all your socials, or you can email me, andy@CrossFitGarage.com. If you're looking for financial advice, we got Vincent Financial down in Woodstock, Georgia. Yeah, you can't shake your hand at a podcast. You got to say something.
Hey,
there it is.
come see us.
That's it.
Main Street, downtown Woodstock.
That's true. And he's got a beautiful business and
That's true.
Beautiful
wife too.
There it is. All right. Y'all take care.